All right, we're going to start off with some very easy and light body movements just to get our joints warmed up. This is called controlled articulating rotations and movements through our body. I'm going to stand up nice and tall, arms by my side. Let's just move around a little bit onto the yoga mat. If you're on the mat or you're on the floor, totally fine. Move your body weight side to side, lifting off the bottoms of the feet, moving on to the sides of the feet. Oh, that sound feels so good. Okay, good stuff. Back to center position. Lift your heels up. Drop the heels down. Lift the toes up. A little bit of movement into the ankle, into the feet. Good stuff. All right, now let's ground and root those feet firmly down into the floor. Arms by your side. You're going to lift your shoulders up to your earlobes. Take a big breath in and down to the belly. And as you open your mouth and exhale, lower the shoulders down. Let's just stay here for a moment or so. I'm going to close my eyes because this feels so good. A little bit of a meditation for a minute or two. Breathe in. Just bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Keep your chest calm. Try and take it down into the belly, really deep into that belly space. And then you hold it when you're full, and then you open your mouth and release. Full exhale. Actively exhale so you contract body muscle. To exhale, and then you inhale. Repeat. Nice cycle of breathing, just like a wave. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, and breathe out. All right, let's open our eyes. If the eyes are not open, turn the head to that right side. Let's stretch it out. So I'm stretching the open side here, which is the left side. Stretch, come back to center position, turn the head the other way. Nice big stretch. Keep your shoulders down. And come back to neutral. Lift your head up. Stretch the front of the neck. Look forward. Tuck your chin into your chest and stretch the back of the neck. Come back to neutral position. Turn your head to the left. Now you're going to drop the ear to shoulder. Peek up at the ceiling. And have speed, do a head circle in the opposite direction. Exaggerate this flowing circular movement as much as you possibly can. Try and keep your rib cage calm. Really important for us to isolate body movements, and that's what this is all about. We're tapping into some deep joint space, and this is the only way to really move fluids around into deep spaces by slow movement. So we'll do about 3 or so in one direction. Again, exaggerate that big circle. Then you come back to center position. I'm going to go to the opposite side, which is my right this time. Go as far as you can go. Drop the ear to the shoulder. Stretch that out. Look up and do a head circle in the other direction. Make sure you're breathing deeply. Isolating just this one movement. Super good stuff here. A few times. And then we come back to center position. Okay, we're going to accentuate that stretch a little bit more. Do this, by the way, anytime you wish, especially if I carry tension in my neck area, so I do this quite a few times through the course of the day. Very simple stretch. I'm sure most of us have done this. Turn your head to the left. Take that right arm off to the side. I'm just going to make a fist so that the elbow stays straight. I'm going to turn the head to that left side, and then hold on to the side of your head on the right side with the left hand. Keep the right shoulder down and that right arm behind you. And then slight tension. Start at 0. Go up to about, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. So you want to feel it. And then look up a little bit. Maybe draw the right arm behind you just a bit more. So not too much, just a nice little stretch here. And then start to look down and in front of you. Stretch that out. Drop the chin a little bit more. And slowly drop the chin more. Start to look underneath the left underarm. Maybe go up to about a 5. Take that right arm behind you a bit more. Should get a pretty decent stretch here. Release the tension. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then let the head come back to center. Oh, that feels good. Okay, let's do the other side. Turn the head to the right. Left arm goes out. Get that elbow straight. Turn your head to the right as far as you can go. Hold on to the side of your head. And then let's go. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit of tension on that dial. Not too much. I'm looking straight ahead. And now I'm going to look up. draw the left arm back a bit and keep that left shoulder down. And then I'm going to start to look down and forward. Slowly dropping chin towards chest. I'm going to turn the head slightly so I look through the underarm on the right side. And let's release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go to 0 and let that go. Move your head around a little bit. Okay, that should feel pretty good. All right, arms by your side. Lift the shoulders all the way up to your earlobes and drop them down. Let's just do a couple of these slow movements. Up and down. Again, isolating these body parts is super, super important. All right, I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see this movement. This is just a rolling through the shoulders. I'm going to lift up the shoulders or the arms and then send them to the back of my space, then down to my back pocket, and then forward to the front pocket, and then back up again. Without moving the rib cage if possible, you're just going to try and do this very, very slowly. Let's connect brain and muscle here. Isolating this movement, separation of the arm from the rib cage through the shoulder socket, so important. Otherwise it gets all gummed up and too many parts are moving at the same time. Isolating body parts, really, really important stuff. Okay, so we do a few more of these. Now come back to neutral. Let's lift them back up again. And this time forward, down, and back. Try not to roll the spine, so you're going to keep your spine straight. Stand up tall, roll through the shoulder, forward motion, and then back and around. So forward circle. We'll do a few of these. Good stuff. Shake that out. Let's lift the arms up. Move through the fingers now into the finger joints. Make fists. And let's roll through the wrists. Up and down, side to side. Even turn the palms up and then flex an extension with the palms up. No right or wrong way of doing this kind of stuff. You're just trying to keep the elbows straight so the movement is really happening as much as possible from that wrist. So notice if the entire arm is moving or if you can just really isolate the wrist. Independent body movement is very, very important for everything that we do. Keeps the fatigue factor down, side to side. All right, just shake the arms out, let the blood flow go down. Now lift the right arm up and go into extension. If you were doing a push-up, this is the position of your hand. Now you're going to just hold on to the fingers, press the palm forward so the elbow straightens, and then you're going to draw the fingers back just a little bit. Again, tension level. Start at 0, then go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This stretches the bottom of the forearms all the way into the elbow. Release that, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then go down into flexion. So here again, find the way to create a bit of flexion, so you should be getting a stretch to the top of the forearm into the elbow. Back into extension. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release the tension into flexion. And then we'll let that go. Again, you can do that on your own as much as you like. Really, really good. The more movement you have independently of the whole arm, super good for the wrists. We're going to do the other side. Left arm straight, extension. And also notice here whether you're actually leaning forward or if you can stand straight, just an extension. And then let's turn this up, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice stretch at the bottom of the forearm all the way up to the elbow. Hold for about 30 seconds. Release the tension as you drop down into flexion. And stretch the top of the arm. Also common actually to cramp up a little bit. I feel a bit of a cramp here. It's only because I don't do this as often maybe as I should or could. So this, when you get into a little bit of cramping, that's an indication that it's something you may want to tap into a little bit more. Okay, one more time for extension. Feels pretty good. And then we'll let the arms go down and take a little bit of a break. Okay, this is something that I do for rehabilitating my arthritic elbow. I had surgery here a few years ago. We're the only species that can do this type of rotational movement because we actually have two bones here in the lower arm, the radius and the ulna, and the two of them rotate over the top bone, the humerus. So take your hands in this position where you cross one in front of the other. We've all done this as well. We do this when we were kids. Get your palms together, arms by your side, and then turn the hands in and out. Go as far as you can go. Check your range of motion. From here, you're going to try and straighten your arms out. I can't go past this anymore than this for me, and it starts to get really painful. So I stop here, and then I'm going to go back the other direction, straighten them out, maybe even lift the arms up a little bit, come back down, and again, turn it out. No right or wrong way. Just work your way through this and see how the joints feel. As much range of motion as we can tap into is going to help us in all the body movements. Okay, so we're going to do this a few times, nice and slow. And this type of extreme movement also moves fluid into spaces that we don't normally tap into. So a few times. And then we'll release that and shake that out and let it go. All right, bring your arms to your side, please. Cactus arms. Palms stay up. Now this time what I'm going to do is bring the arms together. Notice what's happening if you have to do a little bit of this if your shoulders are super tight. You're going to try and stand straight. Bring your elbows to touch, forearms to touch, hands to touch. And then you open it up. Try and isolate the movement right through the shoulder socket here. Elbows, forearms, hands. And then keep the hands away from your face. So you want to stay out here. Do that a few times. Open up. Come together. Good stuff. Back and forth a few times. Now, bring the elbows, forearms, and hands to touch. You're going to try and lift the hands up without separating the elbows. How far is your range of motion? Some of us can go really far and some of us not so much. This is also dependent on the tightness of the shoulder. So do this. Challenge yourself. When you start to go up and you feel the elbows coming apart, just stay there. Go a little bit more, breathe, and then lessen it, drop it down. Again, same thing. It's going to start to open. You try and keep it together as much as you can. Whoops, sorry, earbuds. Hold on, one sec. Okay, should be good. There we go. And then just let that go and shake it out. Okay, one more for the rotator cuff. We're going to get really deep here into the shoulder. Arms out by your side. Let's bend the elbows, hands straight. Now, tendency here is for either the elbows to drop or for the hands to do this kind of funky movement. Keep the hands in line with the forearm. Open up. And then turn the upper arms down. And then open. You're trying to avoid extension of the spine. If you're super tight, keep your spine straight. Take the arms back as far as you can go, and then you go down without leaning forward. Rotator cuff movement here, super important. And as you're moving the club around and stuff, you got to be able to move through that shoulder socket. So if it's gummy, you're going to do the slow, then maybe switch. The tendency also here sometimes for the shoulders to come up. So you want to keep the heads of the shoulder down as you do this movement. Such simple body movements, right? But they can be really, really challenging to do. Especially when you do it slow, work through that path where the brain's connecting with muscle tissue. And then release, let that go, and shake it out. Okay, it should feel pretty good. All right, we need to move through our spine. Here's another thing. The spine gets gummed up. So you would get 1 or 2 vertebrae doing the job of 6. Also not a good thing, especially if we want to start doing rotation, flexion, extension. We want to be able to move just like a snake. Let's roll through the spine. We're going to start off nice and slow. You're going to just take the feet a little bit wider. This movement is, I call it a tree hugger. It must have a name of some sort, but I call it tree hugger. So think about hugging a tree, round over, and then stand up and open up. Nice big flaring of the chest here. So you are arching your back, and then you roll and Get that spine rolling forward. Tuck your chin into your chest. Hug that tree. Open. Close. Open. Nice and slow. Close. I even hear a little click through my spine. This is working. For sure. So good. Okay, now we're going to do 2 little movements through the spine, which are also quite effective. I'd like you to take the left hand, put it on top of the right. So slight pressure as the left hand is just resting on the right. The right is going to resist that weight. Plant your feet firmly into the floor. And then as best you can, you're just going to try and do these big sweeping circles. Go up. Come to the right. Try and keep your hips pointing forward. Move the upper body only. You lean forward a little bit. No right or wrong way to do this. Just do it slowly so you can feel some kind of circular motion as you do this. So we'll do a few times to one side, and then we'll switch the hand position and turn the other way. So I'm going to do one more here. Come down. And this time, right hand over left. And then you do it in the other direction. And now I feel my range of motion is much stronger here, much greater range of motion. Nice, big, sweeping circle. Good stuff. Couple more. Okay, last one. Okay, we're going to do something similar, just a little bit of a different arm position. This time you're going to give yourself a hug. Wrap your arms around your shoulders here. Maybe even try and hold on to the shoulder blades behind you if you can. Those wings behind you are your shoulder blades. If you can't quite manage, just do the best you can, and maybe even just hold on to the forearms if you feel like you're super tight and you can't wrap around. But you're going to do the best you can. Take your feet wide. Plant those feet firmly onto the floor so you feel the underside of your feet. And then I'm going to do the same circle, but this way. Really exaggerate the movement. Nice big circle. Lean back to the side, then forward. So this is taking us through all the different body plane positions. Keep giving yourself a hug. Do it about 3-4 times. You're going to come back to center and leave the arm, or let the arms go and just cross them the other way. Give yourself that hug. Go the other direction now. I went right to left, so I'm going left to right. And notice if you're losing balance or any of that funky stuff, you want to be able to control this. I'm even doing this with my eyes closed. Feels good. Nice big circles. Again, super easy movement, but sometimes very challenging to do through a full range of motion with full control. And I'm trying to keep, even when I lean forward, I'm putting more weight into my heels, not in my toes. So equal weight all the way across as I do the movement. Okay, good stuff. Back to a neutral position. Whew, okay, we're going to move through the hips, really important. We're going to do that pelvic tilt. This is a forward anterior pelvic tilt or posterior tilt. So, feet wide, bend your knees slightly, and let's just lightly put the hands onto the legs, just as a placeholder. Now I'm going to arch my back, lazy belly to the floor, and keep the shoulders down. Take a big breath in, and then contract abdominal muscles on the exhale. Tuck your tailbone under and try to smooth and flatten out your lower back as best you can. Tuck the tailbone, and then inhale, release. Get that arch in your back. Now exaggerate the position. Exaggerate, and then tuck. Slow. Now we're moving the pelvis across the femur bone versus the femur bone moving across the pelvis. This is pelvic movement, really important. You want to have as much range of motion through your pelvis for the golf swing. Absolutely critical to get you the max movement and rotation. All right, so let's just do a few of these. Practice these on your own. Really good stuff. Couple more. Oh, these earbuds keep falling out. Oh my gosh. Okay, and back to standard position. Good stuff. Let's stand up tall. Arms by your side. Let's shift the weight again, side to side. Roll off the bottoms of the feet, side to side. Then get your feet flat and then just move the pelvis side to side. Tendency for a lot of folks here is they do this with the upper body. I don't want to do that. I want to keep the shoulders on top of the hips. Discover this sway range of motion. Now you're going to go all the way to one side, hold, and keep the movement going even though your body's stopped. Try internally, in your mind's eye, energetically, to keep moving. So you're squeezing stuff to keep it moving. Take the tension out, go to the other side. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Other side. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. This is how we increase range of motion a little bit. We're not holding here too long, so we're just moving actually fluid around. We need to hold these positions a little bit longer to actually create a range of motion, which we do in yoga. Okay, now some circles. Try and make the circle as big as you can. Keep your upper body from here up still as much as possible. Do the movement from your lower body stuff. And you can play with this too. You can take the feet closer, you can take the feet wider, you can turn your feet out a little bit. We're all built a little bit differently. So figuring out what the best range of motion is also really important. And that also is directly related to when we set up for our golf swing. Foot position. Not everyone is the same. So I do want you to play with that. I know Brendan works with all of you to do this. So the feet can be a little bit closer, a little bit further. Sometimes they turn out. It just depends on how you're built mechanically. We're very similar, but we're not the same. So every person will have a different range of motion. Okay, other side. Let's tap into this side. Again, avoid any upper body movement here. So if you look at me from the side, I'm really not leaning over. I'm just doing this rotational type movement. Minimal moving of the upper body in either direction in any plane. Just circle, circle, circle. Okay, so play with that. If you're doing it this speed, it's too fast. You got to do this slow. Discover the highway, or in this case, let's call it an off-ramp. You know those big off-ramps on the 407? There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. And you come back to neutral position. Okay, bring the feet a little bit closer, still arms by your side. Lift one leg up for a little bit of balance, and let's switch other leg. Move through some movement in the leg. Legs up, plural. Good stuff. Okay, now I'm going to stand up, as if I'm not already standing. And I'm going to send the right leg forward. I'm going to get the leg straight and point the toes. Now imagine that we've got a clock in front of us, and this is 12 o'clock. We're going to go 12 o'clock, and then we're going to pick the foot up, go to 1 o'clock, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then you're going to go to 5, 6, and as far as you can go behind you without leaning forward. Notice what's happening. It could get really tight, and maybe the range of motion gets small. Play with it. 6 o'clock, 7, 8, and then I'm starting to do this. So I'm going a bit too far. Stand up and bring your leg back. Tap, tap, tap. You want to get fancy? You can lift the leg up a little higher. Tap. You don't need to, but that's more of a balancing thing. So move through those digits on the clock. 12, 1, 2, 3. Work your way. Keep your hips moving forward. It's the leg that's just a single leg going out to the side without upper body kicking in. This one can be really quite challenging. Again, super simple. And we're trying to just isolate this one side. We're going to do about 3 of them. And if it's too funky, then just go to like 12 and 6. You don't have to go too far behind you. Do it slowly. Now, when I start to get to 4 is when I feel it. I feel it right here on the side. So for me, it's really tight here. So I want to do the best I can. Good stuff. Inch my way to 6. Work my way back to 12. And then just move the leg around a little bit. And then just do the other side. Left foot forward to 12 o'clock. And of course, this time we're going 12, 11. Then we're going back the other way, trying to end up at 6. So 12, 11, and so on. 9, and here I go. As soon as I get to 8, I start to feel it again on this side. So obviously for me, this movement, I'm tight right here. So I'm just going to try and do my best without leaning forward. Little baby steps. So I end up going like from 8 to 8:30. I can't go 8 to 7 in one shot. And it's nice and good in the front here. And I'm trying to get it as nice as I have it here, as good as I have it here, all the way through. Let's do about 3 or so on this side. And notice here, my hips are starting to turn. So obviously I'm super tight. So I want to be very conscious of that. Watch that range of motion. Play with it as best you can. Good stuff. Do the last one, and then we come back to center position. Okay, I'm going to have a little sip of water. Please do the same if you need to at any time, of course.
Lou, just want to clarify. So when I'm going around the clock, I'm trying to make sure my hip pointers stay directly north, true north on the mat. So as I'm trying to put my leg around me in the back, my leg goes around me, but my hip pointer stays straight. So if I'm going with my right leg past 6, 7, 8, 9, I probably can't get to 9, but I can maybe get to 8 if I have range through that hip, right?
Yeah, excellent. So what I'm going to do here, great question. Thank you for asking that. So I'm pointing straight ahead at you now. My hips are pointing straight ahead, and I'm going to point this right leg forward. So I'm trying to sweep this leg as much as I can without this happening. I'm trying to keep my hip points forward.
Yeah, okay, good.
Just to discover the range of motion. How much have I got? I'm trying to max out the range of motion without this turn. And this starts to create an understanding of what our limitation is. Because for some of us, here's the thing. The reason I like this one is because we are, in our mind's eye, we can relate to a clock. So those, 12, 1, 2, 3. If you notice at 3 that you're starting to do this, then your work is to try and get to 3:30 without turning. That's the work. Does that make sense? Because you can gauge it, and then all of a sudden, one day, you're going to get to 4 and go, oh, I'm at 4 without rotation. Isn't that nice? That's why the hands are here as well, to try and keep everything forward. Imagine you got a couple of headlights like shooting forward, and if you start to turn, those headlights are going to turn as well. So we're trying to get strength and range of motion.
Right. The strength is in our glute, right? The glute's what we're using to turn or fold that.
While we're using the glutes as the legs start to go back, yes, it's all of that tissue here. But here's the thing. The glutes are firing up to try and pull your leg back. But if all this junk here and this stuff is really tight, it's going to pull you back. So you're going to have this fight between something in the back pulling and something in the front pulling back. And that's where the tension comes in.
Thanks.
Now, also, just while we're on this, these limitations to range of motion happened for 2 reasons or a combination of the 2 reasons. It's either compression, and compression is more of a structural mechanical problem. If you've had hip surgery, you may only have a certain range of motion. That is more compression. That is a mechanical structure, bone on bone, something is not moving. So that's one. The other is tension, and tension is soft tissue, muscle, ligament, tendon. So if you actually do not have any structural issues and you're tight, it's the muscles, ligaments, and tendons which can open through stretching. If you have compression due to an injury or something like that, no amount of stretching will ever be able to straighten that out because you've got bone on bone or something strong hitting each other, okay? It's like a door not being able to open. Okay, last little movement here, and this is also going to help that range of motion. So what we did with now was just kind of test that range of motion, and we're going to do a bit more. So you're going to lift that right heel up, keep your foot touching the floor. Now you're going to roll to the outside. So do this. Take the knee out, roll to the outside edge of the right foot. Drop it down, go to your heel, but try and stay on the side of your foot, and notice how far you can go. Now for some of us, we might only be able to roll a little bit. For some of us, we can actually roll all the way to the side. Now go to your heel, go to the arch, go to the front. So look at the big circle now that I'm creating here by doing this. I'm using my foot as the fulcrum. That's the connection to the floor. And then I'm doing this big circle. I'm trying to open this up a lot and then close it up a lot. Use your foot. So think about rolling to the outside edge, the heel, inside arch, the toes. Can you do this with really fluid motion? Let's get some WD-40 in here. By the way, there is such a thing as WD-40 for the body. It's called organic. Wait for it. Organic, cold pressed, extra virgin olive oil. Okay, inside. Inside rotation, do it slow. Outside, again, big circle. Simple stuff, very effective. Not to mention the other leg is supporting my entire body weight. My core is keeping me up nice and strong. Everything is slow, and then we let that go. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to do the other side. Plant the right foot, lift the left heel. And notice that when I do this, because my leg separates, I'm not doing any of this stuff. This is why we need that separation. So I'm basically standing, lifting one leg up. And then I roll to the outside, exaggerate that movement, roll to your heel, then the inside, and around. Nice, big, sweeping circle. We're going to move into a couple of squats after this. I'm going to show you some different squatting movements, which is also really critical for opening up all this junk here. Like this is a very complex joint. The biggest muscle groups here all kind of hang out in this area. And this is why this area is so tight. It creates all kinds of weird positions and movements, and screws up the golf swing for many of us. Okay, now inside to outside. Again, watch your foot. Try and roll to the edge, inside edge, back heel, outside edge, nice and slow, exaggerate that movement. Okay, couple more. And then we're done that. Okay, there's lots more we can do, but we're going to move on to some other stuff. Take the legs a little bit wider. Take the arms forward. Let's just do a little bit of upper body rotation. So you keep your feet pointed forward, your hips pointing forward. Let's lift the arms forward. Now keep the left arm where it is and turn the right arm off to the side. Try and rotate from the navel. Imagine I'm cutting you off like right here in the center. You're just going to try and rotate. Turn your head to the right side. And then come back through center. Right arm stays forward, and you're going to turn to the left side. And then come back to center. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little trick with this to make sure that we can get this body separation happening. So just watch me for a sec. What I'm going to do here is as I do this with the right arm, I'm taking this right hip and trying to push it to the left. As the right arm goes this way, my hip is actually, I'm trying to turn it in the opposite direction. And it's really a great thing because it won't turn, but it's going to keep me neutral. So if I don't do this opposite activation, my hip will actually start to turn, and then I no longer have upper-lower body separation. So let's try that. Both arms go forward. As you start to take the right arm to the side, press your right hip over to the left. Abdominal muscles here need to contract. Then release it. Again, do this slowly so your brain can figure this out. As the left arm starts to go, press your left hip in your mind's eye to the right. And notice the hips stay neutral. Again, do it again. Back to neutral position, right arm to the right hip to the left. So it's an opposite direction of the lower body, and that keeps it in neutral position. Switch one more time here. And come back into center position. Okay, now let's figure out the squatting position, because that again is going to open up all this junk here. And the more that this stuff is all opened up, you're going to have a great range of motion. You're going to be able to do all kinds of great movement with your upper body and have a lot of strength. So I'm just going to draw your attention to proper form and technique for squat. A squatting position, especially if we're tight, we can have a couple things happen. Typically what will happen is a lot of people will lift their heels when they go down because they're so tight. So if that's the case, you may want to put a book underneath your heels, and that'll help you in the squatting position. And again, because we're all different, you may want to take the legs out a little bit wider, even turn the feet slightly out to get a good squat. Think about sitting in the front of a chair versus the back of the chair. So I don't really have a chair here, but anyway, you're going to take the arms forward. Don't think about bending the knees. Think about sending your hips back. Now, if I don't do that, if I think about just bending my knees, this is typically what will happen. Look how my knees are shooting forward. A lot of tension into the knee and into the ankle. Now, this is okay if you're doing it on purpose, but typically people don't do this on purpose. So it hurts the knees, hurts the ankles. So if I do this and I get the arch in my back, it's a really funky movement and it hurts a lot. So think about, if you're going to sit down in a chair, think about sitting in the back of the chair. So send your hips back. Keep the lower legs more perpendicular and then stand up. So do it slow. A little bit. And then you stand up. Just do a bit. Even outwardly turn your feet out just a little bit. Turn those feet out to engage your glute muscle as you create the squatting position. This is one of the tests that we do when we're looking to see people's mobility and how they can move through shoulders and hips at the same time. Now we're going to try and go a little bit deeper. And then come up. If you really want to challenge yourself, put the hands behind your head, don't lean forward, and try and squat. Without leaning forward. Keep the shoulders up. Squat. So again, from the side, I'm trying not to lean forward. So it's as if you were standing, hips back. Challenge the movement. Try not to lean forward. Keep your spine straight. Elbows back, look up. Keep looking up. Couple more. Okay, good stuff. Take a quick little break. A little water. Oh, okay, we're going to do one more, and then that'll be a wrap for this session. This next one, I find very challenging. I try and do it as often as I can. When teachers call this out, when I'm doing a yoga class, I'm like rolling my eyes going, ugh. But, super important, this in yoga is called goddess pose. The legs go wide, and then we turn our feet out as much as we can. This way, okay? Now, let's just play with this for a moment. Take the arms out. You can make a fist if you like. I do that sometimes. It just gives me nice strong elbows. And as I punch up to the ceiling, I'm going to bend my knees. Keep the knees going out. And if you don't have a lot of range of motion, you're just going to do a little bit. So if you start really leaning over on this one, just go down a little bit. Try and keep this pubic space really open. Think about an open book. Dial your feet out. Go up and down and test it out. If you're just newer to this particular move, and it can be quite awkward, you could hear clicky, clicky, clicky. Adjust the position, if you will. If you cramp up and down a few times. And typically, this is a very wide open hip range of motion, so for a lot of us, it's not stable. But we want to be strong in all ranges of motion, not just a regular squat, but even this really wide-legged goddess position. All right, now I'm going to bring the hands behind my head. Press your head back into your hands so you don't lean forward. Bend your knees. Now from here, tip to the side. Try and touch the elbow to the knee, and then the other side without leaning forward. Couple more. Last one, come back, arms down, toes forward, bring your legs together, shake it all out. Great job. All done.